YouTube? Corn Cob Piper coming at you. It is Saturday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Smoking my Missouri Meerschaum. Smoking my $25 Amazon.com pipe. Really enjoy this thing. Kind of wish I was smoking a Missouri Meerschaum today. I'm still in the midst of the Corn Cob Piper Challenge, where I've challenged myself to only smoke briar pipes for the month of September. It's going pretty well, but as we're drawing near towards the end of the month, I'm definitely getting antsy to smoke a cob again. But as you can see, all of my, at least for this one, all of my briar pipes, because I've been smoking them frequently, have been coloring up quite nicely. And that was my whole reason for doing the challenge. Today, and I'm smoking some Peretti No Name Burley in here. Reason for the video today is for a VR to my buddy Canine. Goes by the handle Canine Piper on YouTube. If you haven't seen his channel, as always, I'm going to go ahead and post the link down below. Make sure you head on over there. Check out his great videos and make sure you hit that sub button for him as well. He's doing his celebration giveaway. I believe it might have been for his 100 subs, but he's closer up towards the 200 now, so congratulations on that, brother. Canine, he's a pipe smoker, but he's also very, very involved in the cigar smoking community. Excuse me. Really knows his stuff about cigars. He's doing 2 packages in his giveaway, a cigar package and a pipe package. I'll go ahead and post this in your comments, but I'll definitely go ahead with the pipe package. While I do smoke cigars, I'm primarily a pipe smoker. So Canine Piper wanted us to share a video on a significant moment in history that we lived through, explaining, where we were, what we went through, and things of that nature. So I was born in 1978. 1986, I was 8 years old and in the 2nd grade. And the NASA had decided that they were going to launch a civilian into space on the Challenger space shuttle. They chose a teacher, Sharon McAuliffe, which made this launch, big news. Up until that point, the NASA had kind of lost the luster of doing a shuttle launch, where, in the past they were all televised. By that point, it became so common, a shuttle launch, that it was just no big deal. It was just another day, and NASA's launching a shuttle. But because they were putting a civilian, and it specifically a teacher, it garnished great interest from the public and the media and everything, and especially the school communities. So as part of that day, and I don't remember what day it was. I do remember it was 1986. They took each of the classes and they put them all in separate rooms, to watch the shuttle launch of a teacher going into space. And, everybody's excited, so we got to get to the class and watch some TV. So I'm sitting there with my classmates. The teacher was in the back, and actually the principal of the school, Mrs. Selman. My 2nd grade teacher's name was Mrs. Wangler. In the back of the room, they put it on. We're watching the news footage and everything, and then there comes the countdown, 10, 9, blah blah blah, 3, 2, 1, and it launches, and everybody's cheering in the room. I hadn't actually saw a live shuttle launch up until that point. It was my first time. I remember thinking it was pretty cool. Well, right around the minute mark of the launch, I think it was just shortly after a minute into the launch, one of the rocket boosters exploded. I'm sure you've seen many of you watched it live or have seen the footage since, but basically the Challenger exploded shortly after a minute into takeoff. And I remember running, well, you know, what's happening. And mind you, I'm only 8 years old at the time. It was really hard to grasp what was happening with the situation until I turned around and I saw the principal of the school with her hands clasped over her mouth like this. And my second grade teacher, Mrs. Wangler, started crying. And that's when I realized that, you know, wow, I just watched on live TV the Space Shuttle Challenger explode. And it was, you know, it's all, you know, they basically shuttled everybody back to their classrooms after that. I don't remember if there was much teaching going on the rest of the day. I think this was towards the end of the day of school. But everybody was just, the whole school was just in shock, because my whole school, and I went to a very small private elementary school. I only had around 10 kids in my class. There was probably less than 100 kids in my whole school. But everybody was just in a state of shock. And I remember getting home on the bus that day and running over to my friend Jason's house. He lived 5 houses down. He went to public school, so he was always home before me because I had to take a bus home. It was about a half hour, 45-minute bus ride home for me. So I ran down to his house, and he's asking me, did you hear? Did you hear? And I'm like, I know, it's crazy. And, you know, if you could picture the situation, we were both kind of latchkey kids. Our parents worked, so we were home alone after school. I had an older brother that was around, but he was probably off doing something with his friends or his girlfriend or whatever. He's much older than me, 5 years older than me. So if you could imagine, there's 2 8-year-old kids sitting in the living room of his house watching like CNN or, you know, whatever news channel it was, and they just kept showing footage over and over and over and over again of the Challenger explosion. And then the next day at school, there was all these rumors that, you know, somebody survived and they had found body parts on the beach there in Florida, and just all kinds of gruesome stuff. But I'll never forget, that was like the first time that I had ever experienced anything, you know, like that in my life, a national tragedy. And even at 8 years old, it really, you know, it really affected me and all my friends. And, you know, I can't imagine what those adults, especially in the school, were thinking. Oh my gosh, I just took all these young children into this room and showed them, you know, the space shuttle basically exploding. Because it was live TV. There was no delay or anything. What we were seeing was live, and we watched it, you know, 1 minute up in the air and big explosion, and you know the history. So I know it's kind of not a bright note, but that was the one moment in time, the first moment in time that I remember a tragedy or something, you know, affecting me, and me remembering where I was and what I was doing at the time that it happened. So I want to say to you personally, Canine, congratulations on the subs, brother. You got a great channel. Love your stuff. Keep the great videos coming. Come this winter when it cools down here in Southwest Florida, I'll be watching your videos, sharing a stogie with you. Once again, all his information will be down below. Make sure you go check his channel out. As always, YouTube, keep on piping.